Hello and welcome to Vibra Finance. My name is Lindsay. Tonight I am joined by the lovely Serena Alonzi, Corey Costa, and Toblerose is going to show us some HEX art. Today we'll be going through price updates, a comparison of the t-shirt rate from 2022 to 2023, where we are today. But before we get started with all that and more, a little hello from Vibra Finance.
At Vibra Finance, we seek out the hidden gems in cryptocurrency. We will tailor your portfolio to work for you. Are you ready to transition your investments from traditional markets to cryptocurrency? Are your coins staked and earning interest? Are you overwhelmed with all the jargon in crypto? Is your portfolio underperforming and you want to reposition into consistent winning blue chip coins and viable projects? Do you feel like you missed out on DeFi, Metaverse, and NFTs? Here at Vibra Finance, we provide you with the data, skills, and tools you need to stay on top of the digital asset market. Vibra Finance, we are the future of crypto.
Hi guys, good evening. Thank you so much for being here. Serena, we'll start with you. How are you this week?
I'm doing great. Thanks. How about you?
Great. Any updates?
Yeah, I mean, we had a nice, awesome pump, so that was cool. And I've been busy onboarding people, so that's exciting. And yeah, whoever staked is just making daily interest or rewards. So yeah, it's a great time to be in HEX.
Oh yeah. How about you, Corey? What have you been up to this week?
Same stuff, different day. This is the first stream you guys have ever seen me with glasses on, I think. So I'm doing good. Same stuff, different day. Just bringing people onto the channel and just doing my thing. So I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Looking sharp with those glasses on. Thank you for being here. We can see you clearly now. How about you, Tobler? How's your week been?
Yeah, great. Thanks. Just winding down and, I was happy to be invited on another stream. Thank you, Serena, for reaching out. So, happy to be here.
Yeah, this is an exciting time, right? Like you said, Serena, we saw a little pump. Corey can see even better now. We love this. I mean, we are on day 1,210 of flawless uptick time. When Serena and I started on November 14th, 2022, we started on day 1,078 of flawless uptick time. And I love being able to say that now we're up over 1,200 days. That's good. That's pretty exciting for me because we're not seeing very much of that these days. We're seeing cracks in the surface of the glass, so to speak. We're going to start seeing some interesting shifting of hands, so to say. But one thing we started with for that day was the t-shirt price or t-shirt rate, actually, which was 25,077 HEX per t-shirt. And so that was on November 17th. I can't remember offhand, so I'm gonna have to and I love this. This chart is on HEX Daily Stats. You can come over here and use these tools and take a good look at a plan. This is a great way to map out a plan. We've been using this for how many weeks, Serena?
A lot.
Episode number 19. We've been using this for about 19.
Yeah, right, 19.
So we've been using this tool for about 19 episodes. It's something that we look back on frequently. When we started, the t-shirt price for 25,077 roughly for one t-shirt, that was how many HEX you needed to acquire one t-shirt, and it would cost you $817 in terms of US dollars. And today, what's the t-shirt rate? We're looking at 26,693 HEX for one t-shirt, and the price of that t-shirt is $2,460. So that has increased quite significantly in terms of US dollars versus what you would be accumulating in HEX terms, right? We love to see this stuff. This is exciting. But anyway, so then we love to see new miners coming in. What are you guys' thoughts on mining versus staking and why we're using that? Just real quick. I know we probably talked that one to death, but it's interesting to see the website update its language too.
Do you want to go first, Toblerose? Or do you want me to go first?
No, go ahead. No problem.
I really do think the name of staking to mining really derives itself, and I know some people aren't. I've said this on my own channel. Why the changes? I really believe it's more along the lines of staying in the lane of regulatory compliance structures. I in 2023, especially with all the black swan events in 2022 that happened, with CeFi collapse, CeFi protocols masquerading as DeFi, and then collapsing. I'm pretty confident in my presumption that the reason why there's been so many changes in the names, from staking to mining to other things the community has made surrounding it, is because of the necessity of regulatory compliance and being in that lane. Because there's a new industry, it's an emerging asset class, and it would be naive to presume that regulatory compliance wouldn't hit every part of this particular industry, no matter if it's CeFi or DeFi or a layer 1 or a layer 2 or a DApp. So I really think it has to do with that. And I don't see that necessarily as a bad thing surrounding changing the name, because it shows that this community and this project is focused on regulatory compliance. I don't see it as bad.
Yeah, your audio is a little muted there, but your point was very clear that, this community is
You hear me better?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, look at that thing. That's fancy.
Yeah. Do you hear me better now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay. All right. That's why.
Wow, that thing is fancy. I like all those colors. Dado.
Yeah. Hexkin bought me this.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Does anybody want to share their thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, to Corey's point, there's been a lot of recent, terminology changes for legality reasons. There's even been, hasn't there been hints towards like publishing? I don't know if that was a joke. There's even been, just facetious stuff like smurfing, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I heard that.
And even beyond that is catering to different religions, for example. Interest, for example, is going to exclude a lot of people from I think Muslim cultures that can't do that. So it's the type of thing where we're dealing with code, which is just the numbers and just a computer, coded thing that does what it says it will do. And then we got the human element of language, words, religion, government, banking, all these things that are you want to go into American politics, SEC. It's a huge gray area still, and luckily Hex and Pulse Chain are founded by entities that try to stay ahead of this. Mm-hmm. But it's always good to be ahead of problems that might occur later, and language is a big part of that, especially when it comes to legal terminology and how things might play out. So FUD can come in from haters to say, oh, look, they changed it, it's a scam. Oh, look how Richard Hart changed this thing on the website, scam, right? But that's just we're so, that's for most Texicans that have been around, you kind of just water off the duck's back. You don't even care anymore when you hear all these people hating. You're so used to it. But what's really happening is smart, intelligent, forward-thinking people are kind of getting ahead of stuff. So I like it. But it's not just a Hex thing. It's kind of a whole crypto thing. What becomes an asset? What's a commodity? What can get put into some sort of tax bracket or something that can get attacked by legislation. So it's cool to be ahead of it. It's like murky waters basically still.
It is. I mean, it is, but some of the writing's already on the wall. When you see headlines saying NASDAQ plans to launch a crypto custody platform this year in Q2, so like 2 weeks, just so you know, little guys, when all year we've been saying, we're not going to touch that, blah, 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 blah. Well, so for someone to understand Hex, I truly believe that they need to first know the true value of what is money. Why does it fundamentally exist in the first place. So if someone can really wrap their head around what, and I don't mean, and I even mean a dollar bill, what is the true value of a dollar bill, right? Like we won't go there tonight. We've been there, but like Corey, you did go there tonight with your interview, and there is so much history, so much rich history of it. There's so many different language that history gets told in. There's so many different perspectives that story gets told in. So no, well, we all know, right? There's three sides to every story. There's, there's your side, their side, and then there's the truth. So there's a truth out there. And what is HEX? It's, we consider it, and I say we, in, a community sense, we consider it a truth engine. And the truth is really hard to wrap your head around because it's not always easy to understand. And delaying your, when you time lock you mint HEX to create a t-shirt, whatever the language is now, because that's what products do. The product is solid. The language around the product changes so that it becomes digestible to those around it, right? So as we have started, even from early days in HEX, although we are an enthusiastic and we're a passionate crowd, we're a passionate community, our message has not changed. Our, the wording of like the little semantics that they use, like, we're planning on using this. Well, meanwhile, traditional institutions to address the gap left by many bankruptcies in the crypto industries. Yet, what are these bankings doing? What just happened with Silvergate? What does Silvergate do? Break that down all the way. What is Silvergate Bank? So where are they located? Where's like Silicon Valley? Think of all these technologies that this particular Silvergate Bank held. And what becomes more threatening to something than the unknown or something that you have no control over? So if you're the one at the top and you're the one who needs to feed the crowd and figure out how the crowd's going to get fed and how the work's going to get done, you want to be able to take control of the fastest, largest thing available. So they will say that blockchain technology is scary. It's going away. Of course it's scary. It's scary for the wrong person, though. And that's like knowing that and understanding the true value of HEX and a t-shirt behind it that's where we start getting this divide of, from what I believe we get the divide of fear sometimes. What do you guys think about that?
Lindsay, did you see the comment from Tin Top about the t-shirt?
HEX has always been in a class.
Yeah, just talking about t-shirts and stuff. Just to
let's see where I like. Where did you go? Hey, well, I guess let's say hi to chat. Tin Top, what's up? Thank you so much for being your HEX Potion. Lover. Oh, that was my dog's name. That was my dog's name was Berkeley. So thanks. That made me think of you. Hey, what's going on? Crypto Class, thank you for being here. Hey, lady. That's Texian. I was so bad at reading screen names. Corey, how do you do it? You're so fluid with it.
With what? With what? Interviews?
Reading off some handles. You just whip through them and they sound so easy. Wild SJ, thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you, girl. All right. Fiber Finance in the house. Thank you, goodness. Somebody's got to do the tech work behind the scenes. Walter Precipitous, good to see you. Hi. And Simon Liviu, thanks for being here. Okay. Tin Top, what did he say up here? HEX has always been in a class of its own. This is true. Why do you think that is? Your opinions on that one. Like, we're not seeing HEX in these classes. We're not seeing pushed out to these institutions. And there's $14 trillion, a $14 trillion earthquake that came flying around at us from Fidelity and BlackRock. Now they're laying the groundwork for, the next Bitcoin, Ethereum, and crypto. They're laying the groundwork for these price runs. So buckle in, guys, because this is going to be a bumpy ride. This is the ride. Yeah. This ride right now. Yeah, go ahead. Share your thoughts.
Well, I'm pretty sure, seeing 3-4 banks go down in a matter of 72 hours, it's not a one-off. It's not an anomaly. Like, I think there's writing on the wall, and these things are, I'm sure that the big powers that be and, government or central banks would be really happy to do all of this stuff with no competition, right? But I think true DeFi is kind of threatening them. So they have to kind of get ahead of it and say, okay, we can't ignore crypto. So let's get ahead of that and we'll deal with DeFi later, or let it run parallel and, you know, let some people figure out. But that's probably because the true, like, and to go back to Lindsay, your earlier question was what kind of differentiates HEX. It's a, you know, a very simple and very complicated thing at the same time. When you dive deep, it gets more complicated. But when people in the community repeat the main bullet points of what makes it special, you kind of see that it's separated itself for the really most simple things. You know, it's complete, no admin keys, immutable, and essentially, you know, something that won't change. There's very limited human element to it, other than, say, what is unknown about, say, the '08. Other than that, it's just numbers and math going forever, and that I mean, probably 99% of crypto doesn't do that yet, and so that's what we've all come to. But we're still such a small percentage, especially on the global scale.
Well, thank goodness. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was going to say that you bring up an important point surrounding Silicon Valley Bank, Signature, Silvergate, Credits. I don't know how to pronounce the last portion of Credit Suisse or something like that. All these banks collapsing within the last week or two, and we don't even know if Deutsche Bank is going to collapse as well soon. Everyone had an expectation that when these banks collapsed, that cryptocurrency was going to collapse with it in regards to valuation. And that was proven wrong with the recent uptrend that has occurred, while simultaneously legacy finance has a lot of collapsing that's occurring. And I think that's very refreshing, and I'll tell you why. Because there was this I think there's this presumption that cryptocurrency is directly related to legacy finance, and in a lot of ways it is. But what's very refreshing is that I'm seeing a reactionary response back to decentralization and back to DeFi, because first of all, we saw CeFi protocols and platforms in 2022 consistently collapse. Secondly, we're seeing centralized banking platforms and banks collapse right before our eyes. So it would make sense that many people, particularly millennials, are finding safe haven, paradoxically, in the most volatile asset class in the history of humanity. And there was a second link that you shared. It was a subheading. It basically said that NASDAQ found value in cryptocurrency after the banking collapses, and yes, sees opportunity in crypto after a spate of bankruptcies. And what does that say about financial structure? It says that the actual pre-existing financial entities are now looking at cryptocurrency as somewhat as a safe haven, somehow, some way, from legacy finance collapse. And this is exactly what Bitcoin was created to do, is in its inception to counteract the Great Recession and to counteract the power of banks, and financial entities, and to decentralize the economy. So I find massive value in what I've seen in the last 3 weeks that I didn't think I'd see as a result of these collapses.
Well, they've been working on this. They've been working on moving digital money since 1995. They've been doing this dance. Now, first, digital cash was created. That was the first step. Now, it got to a point where you could only make so much money on the floor, right? So they started handing these guys tablets. So here, you take it, incentivizing them, so to speak, or literally incentivizing them. Here, you take a tablet home. We'll pay for all of this stuff. Now you are going to trade from your tablet at home and see how that goes. So they've already been pushing out trading on these platforms. This is where Silvergate comes in, and they open up the floor. No more 9 to 5, man. That bell rings 24/7 in crypto. So follow the money on that one. What happened? So a 24/7 clearing network just gets up and snatched. So who exchanges and who owns all that now? So follow the money on it. So now the Fed owns that. And now they can roll out exactly what they have had planned in place since we only get to see what we get to see in the headlines because those who own and run the papers and things like, please don't rug me off of YouTube. I'm just trying to put this in the most PC way. We're all aware of these things, right? But it's stopping and paying attention to things like all of a sudden NASDAQ is now saying that they're participating in it. Come on, man. You've been participating in years, and then you've been telling everybody out there how bad it is. And you went down and you swooped in and you look like you're being a big savior and you're saving everybody from these banks. But the only thing you're saving is the amount of money that you're spending on crypto to accumulate it right before our eyes. How dare you? I mean, so to speak, So I say for us, people out there are saying Bitcoin has great value. Well, it sure does. It sure does. It's the daddy of crypto. That unlocks some doors. And I feel like for a myriad of reasons. For one teeny reason Bitcoin has great value is because it became the first way for people to say oh, wait a second, there's another way to do things here. Mm-hmm. Innovation, idea, we're moving forward. So yeah, like you said here, Corey, they're saying that it's terrible. And then all of a sudden in 2 weeks, Q2, big firms are joining this. No, none. They're going to come over and play our game. Like you said, all these cracks are showing in this. You saw all these centralized exchanges posing as DeFi exchanges. MetaMask sound familiar to anybody? Mm-hmm. So here's MetaMask setting up and playing nice with institutional staking. Well, that's great. I mean, that's great for news for us, right? We're very familiar with it. We like the way MetaMask looks. We're familiar with this one. But now other people are going to have an opportunity to come in, and MetaMask is making it nice and easy for them to participate. So I don't know. It's early days, man. Where are we going from here?
Agreed. 100%. I agree. 100%.
There's just so much. I mean, I just feel like there's so much bad news and so much humbug. You know what? Honestly, when's the last time they walked into somebody's house and snatched their gold? How did that go over for them? Not very well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I would presume, depending on where you live. I mean, if you have a firearm in your house, I'm presuming not very well.
I mean, I'm not telling you to go load up, but I'm saying that you have the right to defend yourself, and you live in a country that allows you to do so. So
yes.
If you live in a country that you have a blanket protection over for protecting yourself, then perhaps that's a good idea. Things are changing, and off we go with that. So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I want to keep it positive for everybody. Just because you're seeing crazy things in the headlines, Fidelity was a big one that was saying, no to staking and no to crypto, and it was bad and it's scary. And then what do you see underneath their products tab on their website? If you scroll down, you see crypto. And then you see a nice welcome introduction to open an account, boost your brain power, explore the power of digital assets.
What do they offer? Which coins?
Oh, let's see.
I'm going to guess Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Cardano.
Yeah. Learn about the crypto market, trading, ETFs. Yeah.
That looks like Serena in the picture there.
Yeah, Serena got a side job. What the heck?
Oh, right.
Your telegram for that? It's like, sorry guys, I'm hanging out with Fidelity trying to make it work. Okay, yeah. So I mean, you're gonna see your big boys. You're gonna see the ones that have been established for a while and have let's just say they have a friendlier DeFi face for now. Best change. So we'll see on that one as they grow. HEX Trust is another one. Look at another institutional adoption starts here. Institutional demand has never been greater. That's not what you're reading in the headlines, right? Why is institutional demand okay? Why is institutional staking okay? They're not going to. it's okay, and they're promoting it, and enterprise enterprise grade. Thank you guys. Sorry, it's late here. I'm tonight. You can know what I'm saying though. Like these buzzwords that you're hearing, they're saying that it's not okay for the little guy, but it's okay for these, and everything else is out there. Wild West is scary. Yeah, I mean, how many active cryptocurrencies are out there? When I first started, there was 6,700 tokens / coins. 6,700. We're up over what, 20,000? I think it was 20.
Yep. I started when it was 2,200. It was bad. Now it's bad. Now it's like the saturation, the dilution that you get because of the immense amount of cryptocurrencies that I'd say 90% of them are useless is pretty wild. I remember those days.
Yeah.
30 pages on CoinMarketCap. Now there's like, I don't even know how many.
Too many to read. And what they will do is they will take the very top, the very top, the cream of the crop, and they will rotate that as they fit, right? But this is who they're working with. They're working with banks, asset managers, exchange funds, hedge funds, VC funds, insurance companies, CBDCs, exchanges, sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, brokerage firms. Does that sound like a company that's ready to like pack up their work shoes and be like, no, man, you're right. I'd rather go sit at your desk and work on your ideas. That's me. Yeah.
No.
So this is the energy I wanted to get out there today. Like there is building, there's growth behind it. Don't get away from the headlines, get away from the battling on Twitter. We get so focused on the micro and the everyday because we're here. Sometimes it's so hard to pan out and be like, okay, big picture. What does the big picture look like for all this? It seems very dystopian, but I also have to share with you and the rest of the audience. I had a slight dystopian fear that we'd just wake up one day and that we'd all be like, oh no, you can't eat meat, can't drive a gas car.
It's happening in some areas.
Yeah,
it's happening in some areas. Do I think it's a ubiquity? No. I think what's happening in France right now is very refreshing. So,
tell us more about that.
But right now, with the protests and the riots that are going on.
Yeah, in crypto land.
I don't know. It doesn't relate to cryptocurrency by any means.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I've been in crypto land. I have no idea what's going on in the rest of the world.
Okay.
Macron.
Yes,
the little puppet.
Yes, exactly. So it's basically based off of the French demonstrations are based off of pension reforms, and this has happened in France in the past where economic reforms have led to civil unrest, and it's basically these proposed pension reforms. I don't know the exact intricacies of what's happening with them, but workers basically in France are staging basically a national strike as a result of these reforms, and there's upwards of 3 to 5 million people that are in these demonstrations. So it's definitely showing that there's at least some type of pushback against this WEF centralized globalist mentality.
It's funny. I don't see 30 seconds of that on my local news, right? It's a joke.
Yep.
Well,
I agree.
Not on your news feed. That's not information that they think that you need to know.
That you should not know.
Well,
so basically, Macron is trying to raise the retirement age without a vote. That's basically where this comes from. He's trying to raise retirement age without a vote, and that's basically what causes outrage in the National Assembly. Well, in the populace, because this vote was not in the National Assembly. The National Assembly has been around in France for, for my knowledge, at least 2.5 centuries. So, National Assembly has been around for quite some time. It's actually where we get the origins of the left and right, because the left would be the revolutionaries, and the right wing would be the monarchists during the French Revolution. So, fun historical fact. That's where we get the left and the right from.
hey,
So, yeah, no problem. Useless facts, no problem.
My brain just stores it somewhere for another time, and I'm like, I'll use that someday, I'm sure. So I never think that stuff's useless. Well, what are your thoughts on that, Serena?
Well, I heard that in France, the police were joining the citizens and taking their side. I seen
Yep.
something like that on Twitter. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. That needs to happen everywhere. So, hopefully more of that. But yeah.
Where did that did you guys even I haven't even seen it in a while, that 425 movement from Coinbase asking for people to voice their thoughts on crypto and coming to the future. That got pulled down really quickly. I mean, I would hope it's still up there somewhere. It didn't dig very far, but I couldn't find it when I looked. I was going to share it today. I'm like, well, maybe they don't want to know what anybody thinks anymore. Maybe it was unanimous. Like, they're not going to take our dollars. They're not going to take it all away from us, and they're not going to shove something down our throat. What is the at the end, what's the best way to get someone in that doesn't want to do something to participate anyway? You have to incentivize them.
Yep.
So if you have a good,
that's what they'll do with CBDCs. They'll just tell people like, "Hey, look, we'll give you 10% if you go do this," and everyone will be so excited. It's be like a stimulus check.
Exactly. Throw a man a bone and he'll run to it. And that's basically what it is. It's just like the stimulus check. It's a very good analogy. People will be enticed by CBDCs because you'll get 10% cash back, or you'll get $500 in that CBDC as a sign up fee or something like that. And that's where my pessimism comes, because when you look at the emergency savings funds that most Americans have in their bank account, they don't have $1,000 in their bank account. I think it's upwards of 50%. So when you entice them with that, the majority of Americans, I believe, will more than likely choose that as a result of just the sign up incentivized structure. If they do that,
And if not, they can just try and force them and threaten to take their jobs away, right? So.
Exactly, like they did in Canada. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So
yeah. And we'll look at how well that worked out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Didn't work. Yeah.
It didn't work out. So, these little tests have been popping off all throughout the years. And it's always one thing. I'm not going to use the W word here, but you guys can spell, and it only has 3 letters, right? But there are many of these different occurrences, we'll just say, that happen, and they burst like little bubbles all throughout the year. And they're all in different sectors that matter to us, and they're all throughout the world. So these global, because we're all part of one universe, right? So there's what they say, like universal energy. Now there's a global economy where technology is able to reach the other side of the world instantly. And now information is able to reach the other side of the world instantly. So how fast are the dots starting to connect on different things when you hear the same reaction went off in Canada? Like, when would that ever have been able to have been public knowledge for us if not for the technology that we have today? That's scary. I mean, not for us. It's fantastic. Like, what? This was going on since what year is this? Hold on. It's like, hold my tea. I need to do some research. And really, because these are things, unless you brought up knowing them, as Corey and I have talked about before, and Serena, you and I have talked about this too. Toblerus, maybe you and I might have talked about this in another life. The lack of education that's out there financially for public education speaking is this is why MetaMask exists, because this is for the institutional grade thinker, right? They're going to need the MetaMask. They're going to need these companies to custody the crypto. So they think they don't actually need it, but that's why we're here. We're early days. We're breaking through slow, but I really truly believe having that community aspect, that is 100% why it is so important to hold on to that, because these conversations that you're having with somebody on the other side really matter. Instead of fighting with them why they don't like HEX, understand why they don't understand money. Come from there.
Very well said.
It's on purpose, right?
Oh yeah, well, of course it's by design. I mean, if you think about it, that has to be by design. You have to put people in a situation where they are accustomed to being tested, seeing the response from their testing. You have to look at physically moving people in one direction. You have to, like, these are things that are habits over time. So if a bell dings, what does Pavlov's dog do? He
Yep.
salivates.
Classical conditioning. I like that you brought that up. Yes.
I mean,
The dog salivates.
yeah, it's sad, but it's true. And what happens with these kids these days in this institutional grade way of thinking is that they're being given digital activity and they're being promoted from there, and there's less fresh air and there's more screen time and there's less interaction with their peers and there's more interaction with an avatar at the other side of that screen. Now, if you haven't noticed, they don't have emotions, and your screen only feeds you dopamine. That thing feels good, man, right? Especially but when your parents ask you to clean your room and they make you do things, or like, you're just not being spoon-fed anymore. You're being challenged. You have to pivot and move. I really feel like that fundamentally right there is what makes people uncomfortable about HEX. If they call it a scam, they don't understand it. Boom. Go back and do some searching there. But yeah, they need that. They need to put things in place so that we're always going to need someone to work on the machines. And if they can do that and they learn that from an early age, you punch in, you do your work, you punch out. And it's easier to keep that system rolling. Because when you start getting a bunch of free thinking hexkins, these wild and crazy guys, and ladies too, we got the best ladies around. When you start getting these cognitive thought thinking humans that can move pebbles into snowballs into mountains, why wouldn't you get uncomfortable with that idea?
Absolutely.
That's just my thoughts on that one.
No, well said.
Yeah. What do you? I mean, we're like, if you look at the other side of MetaMask, it was like DeFi, and then you look at us now, and you're like, oh, like, you're still looking at DeFi here, but you're looking at like the shaking of hands and building the bridges to be able to continue to facilitate those transactions. So when you're out here and you're like staking, blah blah blah, step back from it, because if there's a headline that's saying that all cryptos are securities and staking is illegal, and if there's one story saying that, know that person represents one party, and we're in a situation where there are many parties with many agendas that want to see money go. Because where does money go? Money goes to the path of least resistance. Money goes to the place where it is treated best. And what better place in the digital asset era aspect, what we have in front of us right now, what better place to put your money, right? Where it likes to be treated. It likes to be tucked away. It likes to be held. It likes to be treated nicely. It likes to be looked at, so you can go on and see things like, oh, wow, look at this. Oh, hey, look, there's other people staking. Oh, hey, here's expiring stakes coming out right here. This is on apphex.win/charts. Take a look at this. My monitor, I can't even read and stuff up that far. I believe the last chunk of year I can see is 2038, which tells me what? Confidence.
It's made this year.
People have confidence in this market, and I don't see a lot of confidence in centralized banking systems anymore.
Not at all. Not at all.
Do you have the link for that you could share for the chat if they wanted to see these stats?
Oh, I sure will.
Cool.
I'll put that right there. I like seeing these tools. I like that our community has taken it upon their own to go and create these tools so we can look. And this is a great way when you're making your plan to come on and use these tools and take a look. All right, when are these stakes expiring? Like, who made these stakes? When are they expiring? Late stakes, new stakes. You can see all this jazz coming up and plan accordingly. But you have to understand the fundamentals first. We put the fun in fundamentals around here, obviously.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so you guys tell me what your thoughts are on like everything that's going on with what we're dealing with so far with staking, mining, minting, average mining, minting, where we're at this pulse chain launch, does that change your mind if it's not in 2 weeks or in another 2 weeks or in another 2 weeks?
Well, I said I said back in October, I said on Twitter back in October that I believed, and again, this is purely speculative, that mainnet is 6 to 9 months from that time. And that's November, December, January, February, March, April. So April, May, June, July. So April to July. And I'm just hoping that the length between V2B and V3 is not indicative or could be used as a pattern from V3 to mainnet. That's what I'm hoping. And if I had to make an honest presumption on when Pulse Chain's V3 will launch, not V3, Pulse Chain mainnet would launch, probably, if I had to guess, anywhere between 2 and 4 months from now. So that's what I'm hoping for. I think that V3 is a major stepping stone for Pulse Chain. I mean, we've all been waiting for V3 since last March. I mean, I remember I literally looked at my YouTube channel and I was like, how to connect to V2B, and it was March 2022. And then the video I made like 3 days ago on how to connect to V3 on MetaMask, it was like almost the same day. So, I'm just hoping it's 3 to 5 months from now at the latest. So I'm optimistic about that.
How about you guys?
Well, I think that when it comes, when Pulse Chain launches, and there's going to be a lot of hype. There's going to be a lot of people flooding in from other communities to test it and use the cheaper fees, and leave places that they're frustrated. Big communities that do a lot of sort of trading, I guess. Thinking even if there's coincides with a bull market, there'll be a re-influx of all the stuff we saw last year and the year before, like NFT trading and people, saying, look, the floor on my gorilla smoking a cigar has gone up, and oh well, on this chain, there's not a $17 gas fee on it. You can do it over here on this one. I think that's going to be a lot of energy that'll come in. It'll probably coincide with some very strange economic times that we'll see with the next, 16, 17 months before the elections in 2024, and a lot of pumping up of narratives that this political party, and this is just very American centric, and I'm not even American, but I'm speaking on how these things move markets. Is like there will be a lot of energy pushed into these things, like, look, the economy is bouncing back and all these things, and then it'll coincide with the Bitcoin halving, and there's going to be a lot of energy. And then if Pulse Chain is alive by that time and moving, there'll be a lot that we'll see that it's not just new people entering, but also, we were looking at earlier at the T-share prices and the T-share rate of, how much it costs to get a T-share on, Pulse versus HEX, and the cost of, selling things, or at that point, even if there's copies of HSI's, and to that train of thought, like copies of, say, Hedron and Acosta, things like that within our own community, that alone is going to be a very interesting thing to watch, just seeing like what people do versus expensive versus cheap gas fees. Will people move? Will the T-share, will the pools get smaller on one side over time versus bigger on the other because it's cheaper, and then people deciding, I'm going to move more of my energy over there. But then if people do that, there's a balancing act of kind of like, if you have almost like connected gallons of water, and then you just like, they move down like this, essentially they find an equilibrium. And that's what's going to be interesting, is like
for just for Hexicans, there's going to be a teeter-totter of do I like cheaper fees, or do I like that there's less people here and there's fewer people sharing there's fewer people with T shares on this side because they cost more to end a stake versus everyone going over there because they cost less than a penny to do the same thing. And that's going to go like this. And it's going to be interesting because presumably we're going into a bull ending the bear and going into a bull market, and so many other things, plus how bad the macro thing can get, or if they pretend like things are good and, maybe because of the election or whatever, and the Fed keeps, finding reasons to quantitative ease and dump more money into the stock market, dump more money into crypto. Going through a year or 2 years of a bear market, you kind of get cynical and maybe even negative or depressed. But at the end of the day, no matter how crazy the world gets, there's always so much money, even if it's kind of phony money, just made out of thin air. There's always so much money on the sideline waiting to play a game. It's just a money game that never ends. So if currency inevitably fails, like fiat currency fails, and we're heading into that, within the next 5, 10, 15 years for the USD looking like that's happening, it's going to be, it pays dividends, no pun intended, to at least educate yourself about this parallel ecosystem of money, because everyone in this room and everyone in this chat at least cares enough to learn this. But there's 95, if you live in a city or even in a town and you walk down the street, to this day, 95 out of 100 people don't know what we're talking about right now. And 5 of them will know that, I've heard about Bitcoin and I saw a commercial about it, and my friend has Ethereum, and that's what all they know. So that's a good thing in the sense that there's more people coming, but it's also a little bit scary that there's like this isolated tiny bubble that's maybe $1 trillion in this $quadrillion world of finance. So it's going to be interesting. Learning is what everyone needs to do at a minimum.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Serena?
So I was there's a comment here from Tip Top saying that RH should say this is the final testnet and final last warning. So with that I think it's like it could be the next few months. So like Tobler's was saying, it is a time to learn, and education is so important. And for new people who don't really understand like the basics of what money is and the details like that and things that we're talking about, there's a good series on YouTube from Mike Maloney that really explains that to new people. So maybe they would get more of an understanding of how important it is to actually learn what money really is. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that would be helpful for some people. But
I found, do you guys find in your day-to-day out there, do you find that to be a conversation that people even like? If you don't know, then chances are you're not looking to have that conversation. And I don't know. I went to a couple networking events this week, and just hearing it on the ground, exactly like you said, Tilbruth. It's my friend has Bitcoin, or I know, oh yeah, my friend said something about Ethereum, and I'm like, what are your thoughts on it? Oh, it's crazy. It's not backed by anything. I just stop and I go.
That's exactly.
They still think it's a scam, really. Or not a scam anymore. More just like you said, not backed by anything. They don't see it in their mainstream news. When they do, they're told, scam, avoid it. But they don't realize that same news or television or whatever is the same entities that really control what you're told about everything, right? They kind of lie to their own benefit. There's a people that own these news stations that want you to know one thing and not another thing. So when you get a friend who's curious at best, you could talk to them about it, but I find probably I've had curious friends that were like, okay, let's do it, show me. And I've had other people that are curious and they're just like, no thanks. I'm just gonna I don't believe in that. That's makes me nervous, or they see it drop drastically like in the last year and they say, oh look, terrible, why would you do that? And you say, well, actually now is the best time to buy, but they only buy it when the price is going up. So it's a catch-22, right? You can't just grab them and shake them. You have to sometimes you just like let them be and they'll come back to you in half a year, but then they'll miss out on bigger gains. But that's just how it is.
I had that conversation with my father. I told him back in November and December that it was a good idea to get into this market. And he kept putting it off. He's like, I'm going to invest for you. I'm going to invest for you. I'm going to invest for you, which I knew was bullshit to begin with. But he was, and then he brought up to me a couple of days ago. He's like, yeah, I'm going to invest with you very soon. I'm like, honestly, no, you're not. I was like, I wouldn't even recommend you get in now. And the reason why is because I told you back when everybody was horrified, crying, screaming, and everything was collapsing to buy in. I told you this when HEX was 2 cents, and now it's whatever it is now. When I called him, I was like, now it's 10 cents. I honestly think that you could buy in now. You're not putting in much money, so you're not going to make much. But like, if you put in what you were going to put in at 1.7 cents or 2 cents when I told you, you would have had 50,000 to 70,000 HEX, like I told you. And even if you decided to take profits on that, you would have had, instead of $1,000 or $1,200, you would have had almost $8,000. And like, but you didn't want to listen to me. He's like, but you were telling me about how what was going on with SBF and FTX. I'm like, yeah, that's when you buy. You go in when people are scared shitless. The asset itself doesn't change. The code itself doesn't change. Nothing changes besides the monetary valuation of that particular project or coin or whatever you want to call it. So, this is something that in the Wolf of Wall Street, DiCaprio makes a good point. He's like, by the time you hear about the stock on TV, it's already too late. Because it's true. It's true. If you're buying and you're a laggard and you're buying when everyone else is buying, you're not an early adopter, and you're just going to be exit liquidity more than likely, to be honest with you. When you start seeing in the bull market people starting to say, like, take a look at my new car, take a look at my, new this, it's generally indicative of an intelligent time to start selling, not buying. So that's my
to that point, Corey, if you zoom out on not the graph, but if you zoom out on time, your dad's still super early, even if he did it today, sure. Right? You know what I mean? So it's all relative, right? But I get what you're saying. Yeah. It's kind of hard to really drill it into somebody, because when it's down, they think they're smart to avoid it, and when they're up, they're scared of missing out. But it is backwards, right?
Yes.
Confidence. That tells me that they need to have confidence in the very value of the dollars that they hold.
Exactly.
And so for you guys, making that switch from buying the rumor, selling news, what do you like? What tool or what Corey, you gave them an excellent tip. Don't buy green candles. If it feels really good to buy it, don't buy it, because then you're feeling something, right? You're attaching an emotion, perhaps excitement, to that purchase instead of having a well thought out plan. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And like, I just want to say one quick thing. Like on my stream, people yesterday and today, people were pissed off. Like, why is HEX 8.5 cents? Like, what's happening? Like, what do you mean what's happening? It's like, buy the rumor, sell the news. We've had this hype and rumor cycle for V3 for almost a year now, and you didn't expect people, not you guys, but you didn't expect people to buy up the massive hype that finally, after a year, V3 is coming out, and then they're going to sell the news. Like, there are people out there who don't just hold, they don't just stake, they trade. And is it risky? I think it's risky. I don't trade. I think it's a risky play. But there are people who do. And generally, a consensus throughout cryptocurrency, it's not just HEX, it's not just Pulse Chain. And this is why I think broadening horizons is very important. Buying the rumor, selling the news is ubiquity almost in every single project out there. I'd say every project out there. You find something very, very, very exciting. You buy the excitement, and then you become, then people sell. When they have satisfaction of profit. So, this not downtrend, but this retracement does not surprise me by any means. By any means.
There's another part to what you said, and Lindsay, you said as well, is confidence, right? But what's different about this is, let's rewind, I don't know, 12 years, 15 years, and say, oh, there's a stock, you should get this stock. And you try to tell your friend, you're having some drinks at a bar, and you're explaining why you think this company is going to do well, and they either get confident or they don't, right? That's the old school thing. But now, if you're sitting down with a friend who's crypto averse, let's say, your confidence has to not just pass through a barrier of like, this thing is good because this. You also have to get them to understand like this whole entire new world that is very foreign to them, that they're scared of, right? They don't know exactly how it works. They don't know how to get it. They don't know how a wallet functions. They are told that it's dangerous, that it's a scam, that someone's going to steal it. It's all on the internet. They don't really get it. So there's extra levels of, and because we in this video, in this chat, in this chat room, people are familiar with how to buy something in crypto. Probably started with Bitcoin or Ethereum, and you know how to seed words, and you know how to send something or trade something or swap something. You know those things, but they don't know that, right? So if you're sitting with a friend and you're smiling because you've got some gains that are going like nothing that they could ever imagine in a traditional, let's say, investment or stock, which is, they're looking at 3-4% and annualized, and they're like so excited, and you're laughing, right? You're like, okay, you can get that in an hour in crypto, and you can lose that in an hour, but you can get 300% in a week, whatever. The point is, that part they understand, but they don't really get. There's so many barriers to communication, to understanding, that trips most people to, yeah, I'm just going to shy away from that. That's too scary for me, because there's too much education involved and fear of losing money. So that probably is going to, fortunately or unfortunately, going to necessitate these institutional entities to bring people in, to unfortunately make them let them hold custody of their stuff, but which sucks. But it'll probably bring a lot more of those people into YouTube channels like this one, and they'll see different communities, people streaming all the time, Corey, Lindsay, Serena, like, just they'll find HEX, maybe that. But even not speaking of HEX, just this world in general, they'll have to come, they'll have to spend some time, because finally they have a vested interest, and they'll find what's good and bad. Maybe they'll get scammed, maybe they'll lose stuff. Everyone has to go through that, but they'll figure out, probably through coming in through Fidelity or whoever else, now I have skin in the game. Now I should go learn, and then probably they'll end up in something like, Sam Bankster fraud, and they'll lose their shit, right? And then they'll be like, oh, crypto sucks. But essentially what they'll do is figure out why or what it is they're holding or not holding technically, and they'll come across channels like this and be like, wait, I don't want that to happen to me, but these people, they're saying that you can hold it yourself. So how does this wallet work? Let me figure out how this wallet works. And they'll go search another video and then they'll figure that out. That's the osmosis that has to happen. That's going to take a while. But I think from my, regular life of having friends that are, I consider, pretty intelligent, they're still super resistant to crypto in general because they're afraid, I guess. So if they'll need to see big, humongous banks or governments saying, yeah, it's okay, but do it through us, if that brings them in, it's not the best, but it'll probably accelerate the process of growth. And then they'll need to figure out what is better, what admin keys are, what immutability means, all this stuff that they have no clue about. Those are foreign languages to them still. So there's a balance here of like, we think, come to HEX, we're the best. But they're just like, crypto, there's just a wall there. They don't know, really like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, whatever, Solana. There's just funny words to them still, a lot of people. But if they, it's slow. I think they probably went from 3% of the world a couple of years ago using this to like maybe 5 now. It's a slow grind, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. What can accelerate it? I don't know. Maybe institutions.
Oh yeah, I think. What do you guys think? Do you think we'll see I want to give a shout out to Bobo on that one. He's right. Throw it out there, and let people ask you questions. If you're out to lunch with your friends and they are like, "Why crypto? Don't explain." The very easiest thing I can do to pique their attention is to take it from them. And so when the bill comes and I say, "No, I'm good. You guys can keep my cash. I'll take your Bitcoin," and leave it at that. Then the next time, if they don't want to know why the first time, then they'll catch up eventually. But it's the ones that ask me questions the next day, and I'm like, all right, come on, here's another little task for you. All right, tell me, you tell me, why do I want your Bitcoin? Why would I hand you my cash for your Bitcoin right now? Why would I do that when everybody else is telling me it's bad, dirty, poop, scary?
True.
Yeah. So maybe there's a way that you could get, every time I go into a store or a local store, a local business, a small business, every time I talk to a farmer, every time I talk to a landscape manager, whoever, I always ask, well, do you take Bitcoin for payment? And if they say, no, I've never heard of it, I say, okay. It's just very simple at that. And then let them ask questions. Because sometimes in those networking events, they'll wait and then they'll come back like 3 minutes later and be like, well, what do you mean by that?
Absolutely.
Well, because I get so excited at first, I was like puking on people. I was like, it's a crypto and all good things, of course, but the message becomes very diluted when it's, glitter and sparkles and rainbows and unicorns. Same as if it's doom and gloom, right? You got to hit a sweet spot there with everything. Figure out what the conversation sounds like to them. But anyway, we're running a little over an hour, and I don't want to keep you guys up all night, but I don't want to let you go either. So I appreciate you being here so much.
Absolutely happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Definitely got to do it again. Appreciate the time.
I appreciate your time. Truly, I appreciate your thoughts, and I appreciate you sharing your ideas with us. And again, you too. You have a calm approach in this market, and if people are coming and they're all getting excited about it going from 10 to 8 cents, then you better buckle up because the next few months are going to get really bumpy. And if you don't want to fall out of the cart, so to speak, strap yourself in with digging down into research and finding why this cart is shaking so hard. What is going? Think fundamentally. I don't want to get rugged here. Think fundamentally. What other train could be going off the rails?
True.
Yeah. No. Is there anything exciting anywhere where we can find you? Tell Ruth. You have some beautiful art here. Can you just tell us really quick about a couple of these paintings, please?
Yeah, thanks. So this one, for example, Corey, the investor, actually bought this one. I streamed it. There's a few of them that they were on the screen before. The first one at the top, Motley bought that one a couple years ago, and then I made one for HEX Live, and that. So basically, it's just my sort of the only thing I can really do to contribute in the community is the thing that I have a passion for. It's not really like YouTube content. Essentially, it's more just visual graphic stuff. However, doing it, I realized that I started to record the process, and I made time-lapse videos. That one, I guess I could try to share it in the chat, but it's if you search HEX time-lapse, let me see if I can actually find that. But the point is that I realized that as somebody who's been painting for the better part of 30 years, I guess, when you show somebody if you happen to have a painting on a wall, oh yeah, perfect. If you have something on a wall and you talk to them, they, if they're interested or they like it, you have a nice conversation about it. But I figured out that if you have actually some footage of how it was made from zero to the finish, there's a much bigger story that can be told, and people actually see it, the process. They really sort of gravitate towards it more, and that really helped me. I mean, I've done it before with other non-HEX things, but now that I have friends like you guys in the community, and then people who I know that if I get it done and I record it, I can have a stream with. It's something I never had before, where there's an audience to talk about a painting rather than, hey, look, here's a picture. Let me, for 45 seconds tell you what it means. Rather, here's like 20 hours of painting all in 5 minutes. This is what it was. This is why I did it. This is how. So for this one, for example, you could see at the very beginning, that's the pulse sort of lightning bolty thing, like the pulse up and down heartbeat. And so I built around that to create what I call, I suppose, asymmetrical mirror symmetry. that doesn't make any sense. But the point is that everything that you see on the top left will be mirrored on the bottom right, etc. And it's just a process that I have that I enjoy, because I have a brain that operates with sort of architecture or abstract architecture. And this is one. There's another one that was the other one that actually has, the first time I actually included Richard in one of the paintings was the last one. And that one, the last one, it tells a story kind of about, that's why it's called a timestamp, HEX timestamp, because it represented the coming pulse chain, the bear market that we were in, the bull market that's coming, on all these things. And thanks to the HEX community, it's in the HEX archives, going forward forever. It's just like this one. And really, really fortunate that there's been so many cool Hexicans that have been supportive of it, that I sold a few of these and shipped off some posters for some of them too. So, it's really cool to have friends that are essentially, global strangers to me, like people that I've never had the chance to meet in person, but I consider friends, and it's really cool, and I hope to meet someday. When my Macron-esque dictator in my country deems, and Papa Biden isn't allowing me in there either. So
yeah, he ain't much better.
Yeah, so when I can come to the States, I really plan to come to a HEX Vegas meetup. That's on my to-do list, like I would have done it 3 times already. But anyway, one day it'll happen, and I'll be really excited to meet you guys.
I want to say thank you so much. I think your work is fantastic, Toblerone. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks,
and,
man.
Of course.
Yeah, keep inspired. Look at that.
Yeah, that's impressive. I can't draw anything. That's
what's
impressive.
What's your website that people can buy your artwork? Because Crypto Claus wanted to know.
Thanks. Toblerone, as it's written on the screen, is on Instagram, and Toblerone.com is the website, and Toblerone on Twitter if you want to DM me. It's all the same, yeah, basically.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. I mean, honestly, that is that's a beautiful talent. And I love that you did the time lapse thing with that. What a clever way to capture an audience that, you said something, and I caught it quickly, where you said that it wasn't like you said something about like content, but like that is content. That is like, we all need a Bob. We need somebody to watch. We need like, you don't have to go throwing out a fro or doing any of these crazy things. But this is like, how soothing is it for some people just to watch the creative process unfold in front of them? That's a skill, my friend. There's a talent and a skill that can be shared with someone who doesn't know anything about crypto, and they see that logo and then their minds explore. And I really believe that's where the door opens. So as we see more of this institutional, grade, the enterprise grade, all these buzzwords flying at us, these things will come flying at us fast and hard. When you have a very unique product in a very large market, and that market starts getting flooded out, what happens? All poop goes away. Now, all these large influencers came in and they were saying really nice things about our product for a couple of days. And what happens when influencers such as, people, let's just take, for example, people who wear flashy things. What happens when they start wearing those flashy things around them on the daily? Because that stuff is very catchy, right? They don't have to talk about it. It's just here. So these are little tiny things we can do every day, like painting and sharing those skills with you, creating tweets. Corey's out there crushing it in other communities, connecting people, asking so many questions, invaluable questions, connecting with them, not just and you're not going in and talking about crypto the whole time. You're educating. You're talking about the history of money, which, that was an excellent stream. Please tune back into the stream for that one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one myself with him. It's far and few between where I don't just talk about, the same, I don't know, I guess you could say, like, I wish I had more people to talk about that type of stuff with, that people would actually engage with, because you realize your audience, and your audience only really wants to learn about one thing, and then you try to venture out, and it's like, they're not very interested. And I get it. Like, if I was listening to, like, a particular streamer who streamed about my favorite video game, and then he starts streaming about ponies, like, I'm not going to watch him anymore. But, like,
I would.
I understand it, but you try to amalgamate everything in it. So, and I appreciate those kind of words. So you can just find me at Corey Costa's Crypto Coins. I don't have anything else besides that in Twitter. It's just Corey Costa 123, and then it's Corey Costa's Crypto Coins. You'll know it's me because my landing video is me and Charles Hodgkinson talking.
Oh, yeah. Bringing it in, man. All right. That's what's up.
And I'll be having him on again in the future. I already talked to him. So I'll be having Charles Hodgkinson back on in the future.
Nice.
Thank you for doing it.
Thank you for a lot of really good.
We can figure out what's going on in other communities, too.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Serena. My apologies.
No worries. No, it's fine.
What are you up to this week? Tell us what's good, where we can find you.
So my YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram is Serena Alonsi. So, yeah.
Awesome. How about you, Toblerone? Where can we find? We've got your website for your beautiful art. We have your Twitter at Toblerone. Is there anything special you're up to this week or this month?
Yeah, it's not HEX related, but I'm painting and recording a replica electric guitar of Pearl Jam's lead guitarist Mike McCready, and I've never done anything like it. But I now that I have a connection to the HEX community, when it's done, I'll share it It's not hex related, but I think people will like it. And I always have ideas for more hex paintings. So eventually, when I get stuff that I need to finish done, I have some stuff brewing that's kind of different, but also the traditional things that people like: hex logo, bull, Richard Hart stuff. When it's ready, just blast it out on the Twitter.
Well, let me know when you do, and I'd love to have you back on so you can give us a gallery review if you're open to it.
If you don't mind, I can say one other thing that I do that I would love people to, and yourself, Lindsay, as a mom. My wife and I have made last year. We completed a children's story, and it's called. Maybe you've seen, some people saw in the chat, Walter Precipitous. It's basically a story for kids about a water molecule, and it's on YouTube. I'm not sure how I could share it here, but if anyone has kids in that age range of like, I don't know, say 3 to 9 years old, 3 to 10 years old, please check it out and share it, especially with any teachers in elementary schools. Yeah.
There you go. Very cool.
Can you scroll down, please?
Oh, yeah.
It's that one, the 8-minute one.
The 8-minute one here.
Eight. Yeah, I think it's that. Yeah, exactly. If anybody, wants to, have a, put their kid to sleep and watch something for 8 minutes, please watch it and let me know what you think.
Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. I will absolutely go do that. That is
wicked. Amazing. Thank you.
So you did like all the drawing for that and everything, like all the graphics and all
that? I actually found a really cool guy, basically one guy with a couple other people that has a production company, and they're based in Portugal. I found on Fiverr. And we've become friends because we've been working together for over a year and a half. And that's their artwork and their animation. And I wrote the story. It's in rhyme. It's a little bit like Dr. Seuss-y kind of stuff. And it's a story about this guy. He's a frozen droplet, and he's become kind of scared to do anything in life. He kind of stays in his ice cube, but he wishes sort of he could do more, and he looks up to the stars and thinks that life off of Earth is better. And without giving too much away, he kind of grows, and he good things kind of happen after centuries of sadness, you could say.
I really hope that's a fortuitous tale, and I hope that all the ones that are dancing around on the outside are hexagons. Right?
Yes.
Around the free world, we know what's going. And this poor little ice cube, we're all dancing. Well, maybe not. We'd be smiling a little bit. But anyway, we're just saying, like, we're all here early days. This is really cool. Thank you for sharing all of this stuff. This is why we tune in. This is why we have good community meetings. This is how we grow. Reach out. And absolutely, I will definitely have my kids watch this because there's some scary stuff.
Thank you.
I'm watching. So appreciate you creating content that's worthy of having children view it. Right? Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Everyone in chat, thank you so much.
Nice to see you guys, everybody.
Good to see you. Everyone have a great night.
Thank you.
And we'll see you this week.